Hi. My name is Mr. Popo. You must fight me, Mr. Popo. You're the first challenger I've had in centuries. This is exciting.
Currently, in the 7th universe, more precisely on planet Earth, it was possible to see that the planet was in a time of peace, which was rare because not even humans were at war, which was a great surprise because of humans' instincts for conquest and the destructive nature they had against themselves. A mountain located on a small island that was around a cluster of islands began to shake thanks to an earthquake that was causing the mountain to crack as well as the island. But suddenly everything stopped, and the mountain simply exploded, causing several boulders to fly out in all directions, reaching some other islands that were close to that one. From the center of that mountain, it was possible to see that there was a large amount of dust coming out because of the previous explosion, but in the middle of that dust, it was possible to see a pink figure that was similar in size to a child or a young teenager. That being opened its eyes, revealing its black eyes with their reddish irises. The pink figure moved its body a little before moving forward and taking momentum towards the heavens, along with some dust. And when it reached the height of the clouds, all that dust disappeared, revealing who the being in question was, which in this case was Kid BUU, a great threat from the past who had now returned in some mysterious way. Kid BUU said, "Finally, I managed to return to this world, and now, unlike in the past, I am more aware of my own actions, and I'm not the same monster that goes about destroying everything just because I wanted to. But that hasn't changed much. After all, I was created just to bring chaos to the worlds and become more powerful over time. And now I feel that this weak world has become much more powerful than at that time when I ended up being defeated by that Son Goku guy. But regardless of that, the more power they have, the more powerful I will become when I absorb them all," Kid BUU said, with an evil smile on his face as he remembered the past in which he was defeated. Kid BUU didn't seem to care much about that. Kid BUU said, "I'm hungry, and apparently there are some beings on that island full of those structures that must be buildings, I think. It's been a while since I've eaten and I'm hungry, so it's time to eat," said Kid BUU before flying at high speed towards a nearby island, arriving there in just a few minutes. Upon arriving in the city, Kid BUU looked at the city below him and noticed that a party was taking place. The city was full of people who were enjoying the party. Seeing the number of people in that place, the humanoid creature with a pink body began to smile, seeing the people he could use to feed on, and even absorb to become stronger, and thus be able to face the warriors again just like in the past. Kid BUU said, "It's time to eat and strengthen myself by absorbing all these beings. From the most powerful to the weakest, they will become chocolates and other delicious sweets," said Kid BUU as he smiled, looking at all the beings below him. Kid BUU concentrated a little and began to create a pink-colored key sphere in his hand that was pointed towards the sky. The sphere gradually began to grow, emitting a pink glow throughout the place, which ended up attracting the attention of most of the people in the city who, when they looked at the sky, saw the large sphere of energy growing in the sky. But as it was a day of celebration, everyone thought that everything that was happening was part of the event, like the fireworks that had been announced a few days ago. And with that, everyone started to smile and shout excitedly about it, which made Kid BUU smile even bigger, seeing that people were excited about what he was doing even though they didn't know what would happen in the end. Kid BUU said, "Humans, this race is truly the most incompetent race I've ever had the displeasure of meeting in my thousands of years. But that doesn't matter. For me, that's actually a good thing after all. That way they can become good sweets," said Kid BUU, stopping making the energy sphere. The sphere gradually began to float until it reached the top of a large building that was above the clouds, and upon reaching there, the sphere began to get smaller until it shone brightly and exploded, generating thousands of fragments that flew at high speed towards the people. When they saw this, they were scared and started to run for their lives. But it was too late, as those small spheres of keys started to hit each of them, causing a bright pink aura to surround them and transform them into chocolate and different types of sweets. And a few ended up not being turned into sweets, which left them a little relieved, but soon they felt something touch their bodies, and then they turned into a type of gum. And when that happened, they started to fly and went to Kid BUU, who just opened his arms, and those things were absorbed by Kid BUU, generating an almost insignificant increase in power for him, which disappointed him, but not so much because Kid BUU already knew that humans were very weak.
Guys, before continuing this epic story, leave your like, and of course, if you want to help the channel, leave your super thanks below and help the channel financially, and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any news.
Kid BUU said, "How disappointing, but I didn't expect my power to increase by absorbing these weak humans who are as weak as ants. But it was better than nothing," said Kid BUU before raising his arm, making all the humans transformed into candy start to float and come towards him. And when he did that, he just opened his mouth and all the candy entered his mouth and Kid BUU swallowed them all at once. Kid BUU said, "Delicious. It's been a really long time since I've eaten these delicious sweets. At least that's what humans are for. Now it's time to go after something more powerful, and that should have a lot of information about the last few years I was away recovering," said Kid BUU, looking at a direction in the sky where there was a large temple above the clouds that he knew very well because it was in this temple thousands of years ago that Kid BUU was in his Super BUU form. Kid BUU raised some of his power and started flying at high speed towards the temple on top of the clouds, and when he was approaching the temple, he ended up seeing several key spheres heading towards him, which made Kid BUU surprised, but he managed to be fast enough to dodge the attacks where some almost hit him, while others he ended up destroying by firing his own key attacks, making them collide with those attacks and explode with their shock. After dodging and destroying Key's attacks, Kid BUU arrived at the temple, but when he stepped on it, he ended up receiving a blow that threw him back, and when he saw who hit him, Kid BUU came across a chubby, completely black humanoid being, this being the Lord Popo, the guardian of the Temple of Heaven. Mr. Popo said, "So you're still alive even after receiving a Genki Dama created by Son Goku. Your regeneration abilities are really impressive, and even though it took a few years, it's impressive to see you here in front of me, even more so in this temple where you were almost trapped in the time room. Apparently I was right in spending the last few years training to be able to face someone like you," said Mr. Popo while looking at Kid BUU, who ended up giving a sinister laugh when he saw that the being in front of him was much more interesting than in the past. Kid BUU said, "Excellent. I was really wanting to face someone more powerful, and you are enough to get me excited, and unlike everyone else I absorbed a short time ago, you do have a power big enough for me to consider it a good power increase, so don't let me down like others," said Kid BUU with an evil smile on his face as he released his energy that generated a pink aura around him, and Mr. Popo did the same thing, generating a dark aura around his body. At that moment, Kid BUU was staring at Mr. Popo with an evil smile on his lips, because he knew that the one in front of him was minimally powerful and could give him an interesting fight, and if not, he would at least provide Kid BUU with a good amount of power after absorbing Mr. Popo, and along with that some of his powers that Kid BUU knew that being possessed, and that could be very useful for him in the future. Mr. Popo thought, "I know I spent the last few years training in the time room and honing my skills so that I could at least protect myself and the celestial platform from weaker beings, while the Z warriors faced enemies more powerful and dangerous enough to bring the destruction of this planet. But I still don't know if my strength is enough to defeat this evil being, but I can at least raise my power to the maximum so that one of them can feel my power and come here to help me. And in the best case scenario, Son Goku himself could appear, and if that happens, he could destroy this evil being once and for all," thought Mr. Popo as he raised his energy more to try to attract the attention of someone more powerful like one of the Z warriors. Kid BUU said, "You're raising your energy too much for someone who is starting combat against someone more powerful, and no one would raise that much energy right away, which means you're wanting to raise your own energy just to attract someone else's attention. And I would say you are just doing this to attract the attention of someone stronger than me so you can defeat me. I admit it's a smart plan when you're weak, but it's a shame I won't let you complete your plan," Kid BUU said, before raising his energy and making his aura spread across the celestial platform, thus creating a barrier around the entire place, preventing Kid BUU or Mr. Popo's energy from leaking, so no one would be able to feel the power from both. Mr. Popo thought, "Damn, with this all my plans became useless, so the only way I can get someone to come help me is if someone has already felt my energy before. If not, I will have to manage in some way to escape from here or defeat him, even though I believe I won't be able to defeat Kid BUU, but either I do it or I'll be absorbed by him," thought Mr. Popo as he looked at Kid BUU, who was smiling evilly at him, which left him somewhat afraid of the being in front of him.
With that, we come to the end of today's video. If you want to see the continuation of this incredible story, leave a lot of likes on this video and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on another day, guys.